anytime people talk about analog hardware, whether that's the pro audio gear like EQs and compressors, or whether that's the synth stuff like the Eurorack format, people always ask the question, is the hardware really worth it? Is the hardware better than the computer-based emulations? Well, I've come here to Berlin, Germany, to one of the most famous and important Eurorack shops in the world, Schneidersladen, and we're going to answer that question. Who better to ask about Schneidersladen than the owner of Schneidersladen himself, Andreas Schneider. Welcome.
Thank you. When I met this scenery first, I was fascinated by those who arrived for a gig, bringing a sports bag with plenty of stuff and loose cables and a mixer, and then they needed 2 hours to set it all together, but every gig was different. But they were so experienced with playing live that they can't fail. It was an individual performance every day. And this is also happening if you really have the courage to play live with such a system. If you know the system, you start from the scratch, and it's great because you know it and you know which module is good for what, and then sure, you have your sound and you are doing your sound, and it's the same like with the bands, you know, they have a complex setup and they set it up every day, and then they start again to open the doors again for expressing live what happens today. Is very important also for the human being itself. You know, we meet up, we talk to each other, and then we go on a stage, and then we perform for each other, and either we dance or we cry, or we get political or we get emotional, but this is the thing that makes us. I could also say big jacks are sounding better than small jacks. And you know, thick cable are sounding better than thin cable. It's the hi-fi people. I definitely know that this is both not true, but I see that it feels better to have big jacks. I see that it feels better to have a real drum set in front of you instead of having finger drumming or having just programming something. You know, if you want to express yourself, you also move with your whole body. We compress it to size of a case, and this is what made the success of this Eurorack system.
When I'm making music, having cables that you plug in and pull out, it really just inspires me to make something new, go in a direction, and also be surprised by the hardware and led a bit by the hardware, but know how to leave the hardware to get to the result that you want. When you just sit there with a computer and click buttons and go through endless lists of presets, and it's just a completely different experience, which seems completely unrelated to the workflow that I enjoy when I'm using Eurorack hardware, or any hardware for that matter. And so, yeah, I think that's a really important aspect of the aesthetic.
I need my sensors free to feel the people in front of me. So I cannot watch my computer mouse finding the right position. That was the first knowledge that led me into hardware.
When people talk about the sound quality, does it sound better, is it better? I just think it's maybe a slightly weird question to ask, because it's comparing only one aspect, which is of course important how it sounds. If it sounded like crap, then it wouldn't be good to use it. But it's such a small aspect of what hardware offers in the experience of making music.
If you want to become creative, it's definitely better to have hardware. You know, if I want to be a creative person, I need my emotions free to recognize what's going on around me.
Yeah.
What's going on in the room, in the atmosphere, in the society, in the world.
Yeah.
I need to understand it. And if I want to perform something at the same time, I need a button here and a key there and a pad there. And I need monofunctional tools around me that I can rely on. Having an Electron drum machine with plenty of beats and presets and 7 buttons with 140 functions combining, I think it's not it, because you still have to always look down to it. Where am I? You have to learn the menu. I'm even a bit harder. I say, if I have to read a manual to understand the tool is shit.
Yeah.
You look into your computer and you don't see nothing else.
Yeah.
You can also talk about the cell phone victims if we're all sitting in the street with our cell phones and not seeing the world.
Not seeing the world around us, yeah.
I think we have to take care that we're not ending up in our computers and cell phones.
Yeah.
So we have to fight hard
Yeah.
to understand what's going on beneath it, around it.
But one of the things that I really like about Eurorack is once you're done and you've recorded that in, you're pulling out the cables and
It's gone.